modern game classics. Games we knew or didn't know were generational and eventually stood the test of time. But what are those games? How many do we consider to have been classics when they came out? Or were we late to the party? Did the game come out with all sorts of bugs and glitches and end up being a modern masterpiece? Today we'll be talking about those games, but before we get into that, you see it, like and subscribe to the room if you're new. This has been one of my most favorite and one of my most difficult projects to work on, so if you, for a sec, show me some support. And if you want more of these videos, let me know in the comments below. Now, we're going to be doing games from the last 10 years, as the video says, modern game classics. Now, some of these games I don't particularly love, more than say like an 8 out of 10 or a game that is like lower in quality, and not every game in this video I particularly like, but some of y'all definitely do. We're going to be starting 2015 and on, since 2026 is like only halfway through, so we can't really judge games like that. And of course, I know there are 100 more games you can put on this list, like where's Hades, where's Hollow Knight, where's Nier. Listen, there's been so many great games in the past decade, I couldn't fit all those games into one video. But if you want a part 2, like I said earlier, let me know in the comments below. Or shit, make your own list in the comment section, do what you will. But blah blah blah, let's get into this video, dog. Also, shout out Carson Runquist for the inspo for this video. That video he did on films was amazing. Arguably one of the greatest modern RPGs of all time, my personal favorite RPG of all time. This was a moment in gaming history. When this came out, it was like Skyrim. The characters, the dialogue, the quest design, it literally changed the way we look at RPGs and just set a whole new bar, a whole new standard for games in general. This was my favorite game from that PS4, Xbox One era, and it still probably is in my top 10 favorite games ever. If I was to like ever make a list, some of the best and unique missions in a game ever. Only knock is that the combat is kind of outdated, if I'm being honest, but nonetheless, The Witcher is solidified as a monument in gaming history and is a bona fide classic. Arkham City is one of the best Batman games in the series and is one of the best games of all time. I mean, it has the best gameplay, the best visuals, and probably the best side quest in the whole Batman series. It's crazy saying that because all those games are great, and you could say this is like the second or third best game out of all of them, which is insane. But if you haven't won, I wouldn't disagree. Now, this game did come out with one of the most disastrous launches I've ever seen for a game all time on PC. It was such a buggy mess that Steam was giving out refunds for the game. We've only seen that on a few other occasions, but if you take all of that stuff out of the game, Arkham Knight is still absolutely amazing and it still looks phenomenal to this day. Bloodborne is one of FromSoft's best games ever, and a lot of people would argue it's their best game ever. The art direction, the world, a true marvel to look at even at 30 frames on a PS4. The Lovecraft and horror influence in the game, the parry mechanic, the boss fights, some of the hardest boss fights too. I think Bloodborne gets overlooked in that department. This game ain't a walk in the park. A true classic, and people are still waiting for this fake ass remake. It's never coming. Uncharted 4, in my humble opinion, is Naughty Dog's best game in terms of pure moment-to-moment gameplay. One of the best multiplayer modes of all time. That multiplayer was spectacular. The story was pretty run-of-the-mill, but the set pieces were different. The unique locations you went through throughout the game was amazing. Now, this will be the only Naughty Dog game on this list. Don't ask me about that other Naughty Dog release, okay? We don't talk about that game. Uncharted 4 was way better than that game anyways. I still think Last of Us is their best game overall, but Uncharted 4 no doubt is a classic. The story behind this, the story and the development behind this game is like an achievement on its own. Look up the Uncharted 4 development and research into that release. It's crazy. The Game of the Year winner for 2016 that beat the previous game, and it was rightfully deserved. Overwatch is the most influential shooter in the past 10 years. I mean, this game was incredible in how they completely changed and pioneered the hero shooter and FPS genre. When this game was at its peak, it was absolutely addicting to play. It's just like how people say they miss Prime Fortnite. That's how I feel about Overwatch. This game pioneered hero shooters with the characters, the abilities, the hero design, etc. Undoubtedly one of the greatest first-person shooter games in the last 10 years, and I miss Overwatch, bruh. Now, out of all the games on this list, I never beat this one, but I can still recognize and appreciate how incredible of a game this is. Persona 5 is definitely not everybody's cup of tea, but if you give it a shot, it will surprise you in many, many ways. One of my favorite things about this game is just the well-written and funny characters you meet throughout the game, because the dialogue in Persona 5 is unmatched, and that goes for every other Persona 5 game and Atlas game they make. They make absolute bangers, and if you're in, so even if you're just in the anime, you would enjoy Persona 5 a lot. Is a game of this magnitude capable of being a classic, even if on initial release the game was in a terrible spot? I go back and forth with myself, but I can't deny how great of a game Battlefront 2 was. It is the best Star Wars game of all time. I don't even think that is an argument at this point. Gameplay wise, galactic supremacy, heroes and villains, I can go on and on about how great those game modes are, and still to this day one of the best, the best looking, like one of the best looking games of all time. Like I'm baffled at how, like, I went back and played this game for this video. This game still looks insane. I went and found a game of heroes and villains in under like 2 minutes. The community is still active and going crazy on Battlefront 2 still with heroes and villains, galactic supremacy. You can still find games under like 5 minutes. It's actually crazy. There's a reason the Star Wars fan base keeps asking for Battlefront 3, and that's because when this game finally hit its final form in 2018 to like 2020, this game was nothing short of phenomenal. And the comeback from this game, for how it launched to how it was at the end, needs to be studied. I know this is probably the most controversial game on the list, but I can't help to not put it on here when it had one of, if not the best, comeback story in gaming history. Shout out EA for doing what they did. It would feel very wrong not to include one of the best superhero games of all time. I think we forget how hyped we were for a new Spider-Man game and to wait for it. It was so damn long and we didn't get a traditional Spider-Man game for like 10, 20 years. And I think this game exceeded all of our expectations with the story, the gameplay, all of Peter's different and unique gadgets. The superb writing in the game gets very overlooked, especially for a superhero game and a Spider-Man story. And all the story beats like hit really hard. You know, the ending was absolutely like heart-wrenching. In my opinion, an underrated classic, Spider-Man 2018 undoubtedly has to be on this list. I think God of War 2018 has the best reboot game in any series I've ever seen. From a pure hack and slash, platforming game to an open world, semi-open world RPG, and the character development of Kratos, with 2018 cementing himself as a staple in gaming history and character design. I remember I stayed home. I stayed home from school because this game came out around my birthday, and I was glued to the screen the entire way through. An absolute masterpiece, well paced, and this game is a definitive classic. It has stood the test of time as probably the best God of War game from all the, we've gotten great God of War titles, Ragnarok, 2, 3, we don't talk about Ascension, but 2018 is probably the full package as the greatest God of War game of all time. Out of all the games on this list, I think Red Dead 2 has the hardest barrier of entry, because I'm not gonna lie, those first 2 hours are very, very sluggish, but once you get past that snowy section, the game opens its wings to you, and this experience, this piece of fiction is something that will live on in your head forever. I've put so many of my friends, my family, my girlfriend onto this game, and they have all told me like, yo, Jeric, this is one of the best games of all time. Red Dead 2 could possibly be Rockstar's magnum opus. Sekiro has the best parry mechanic of all time in the video game, and it's almost been 10 years since the release, and no game before or afterwards has ever come close to refining this mechanic. It was so refreshing at the time, and it's still a true feat and an achievement on its own that this game is still the parry king. I swear, Sekiro's utilization of all of its mechanics throughout the game is truly special. From the moment you play, like your first encounter to your last boss fight, they truly make you feel like you become the boss at the end of the game. You become the samurai god this game has just been training you, torturing you, wringing you out of this whole time. The actual game of the year for 2020, Ghost of Tsushima made an immediate impact on the community, and we were shell-shocked on how beautiful Ghost was. But not only that, the plot was amazing, and Jin's duality as a character. Should he stay true to his ways as a samurai, or become a ninja and get his village and get his clan back from the Mongols? That was one of the best written stories that year, and one of the best stories a Sony studio ever wrote. Like, I loved Ghost from the start of the game to the end of the game, going through all these side quests, doing everything I could in this beautiful world. When this game first came out, it was insane. Definitely one of the best PlayStation exclusives of all time, and it got oh my god, that one game, they ran a heist on Ghost. Ghost should have definitely got Game of the Year. This is by far the best FPS to come out in the last 10 years, and I know people are going to say Titanfall 2 or even Overwatch, and both of those games are in the conversation just for influence alone, but Doom Eternal maybe has the best shooting out of all of them. All the unique weapons you get and the utilization of the weapon wheel throughout the whole game, the locations you go to, Doom Eternal is one of the best and one of the most cracked out shooters you will ever play. It is a absolute blast to play, always on 100, you're always going fast pace. Highly recommend Doom Eternal. I know this was a lot of people's first Final Fantasy just like me, and this game takes you on one hell of a ride. The boss fights are great, the RPG systems with your party, the materia, how all the characters play so differently from one another. For an action adventure JRPG, Final Fantasy Remake is one of the best and one of the most unique like combat systems in a game, with real time, with pause. I feel like a lot of games don't use that combat enough, but Final Fantasy 7, like, did they invent that, like, real time with pause mechanic? Anyways though, it's one hell of a ride, a complete roller coaster. One of the best action adventure games I've ever played. Cyberpunk came out in one of the buggiest states of all time and still ended up being people's favorite game of all time. Like, that is unbelievable in itself. I've heard so many people say Cyberpunk is their favorite game ever, and rightfully so. The RPG elements are very fleshed out, the characters, all the different endings. This game has some of the most freedom you will ever get out of an RPG, and this game might have the most like exotic and creative world I've ever seen like get built in a video game. I take back my statement about Sekiro. If I had to play one game over and over again, laser beam pointed at the earth, aliens coming down, what game do I pick as the best game of all time? Nigga, I want Igwa, dog. No, I'm playing. I want Elden Ring, bro. Elden Ring is the best game of all time. I don't even know what I have to say. Y'all can just watch me get beat up by Margit. There's this game. What am I supposed to say, bro? I have nothing for y'all. I'm sorry. This is the greatest game. This is the best game. This is Elden Ring. It's the best game of all time. There's nothing to say. In terms of the best remakes that are faithful and also making the best additions to a game, Resident Evil 4 is the embodiment of everything I just listed. Them adding a parry mechanic to Resident Evil 4 just made the gameplay feel so much more smooth and satisfying. Leon has never felt better in any Resident Evil game. I haven't played 9 yet, so I'll hold off on that actually. But Resident Evil 4 has some of the best highs for a game ever. Definitely has some rough edges, but overall, it's one of the like best games ever. 10 out of 10, and my personal game of the year for 2023. The actual game of the year for 2023. Baldur's Gate 3 has the most freedom and choice I've ever seen from a video game. The scope of it, we will probably never get to this point again, at least in terms of quality of choice, because my god, that first half, that first act with the goblin camps, I've replayed that game, or that part of the game, so much because it's so rich in gameplay and storytelling. I couldn't get enough of it. Baldur's Gate 3 is definitely a top 5 game in the last 10 years, and probably one of the top 5 games ever, period. It's that good. Unfortunately, my gameplay for Astrobot and Expedition got corrupted, so I hope y'all enjoy this Death Stranding 2 gameplay in the background. Also could have put this game on the list, but starting with Astrobot, I've never played this game before, but it got Game of the Year for a reason, because the 3D platforming, the homage it did to PlayStation, a Little Big Planet, it's one of the best games to come out in the last 5 to 10 years, and I had to put it on this list because I'm doing the Game of the Year winners with Elden Ring, Baldur's Gate, and now Astrobot, and then Expedition. My top 2 game, probably a top 3 game on this list. Expedition has the best art style on this list, and I'm confident in that statement. A game that truly blew me away from how great of an overall experience, from the story, the themes of grief this game portrays, the characters, the emotions this game provoked out of me, and then the 10 out of 10 gameplay. This is another game where you have to cherish your first run. It is truly unlike any other experience I've had with a video game. I was fully immersed and absorbed by this game. It has one of the most captivating stories in just fiction media as a whole. Hope you enjoyed the video. Like, comment, subscribe. We're gonna end the video off that. Comment down below what your list would be, you know, your 10 to 20 games. And if you want a part 2, I can promise y'all I can put another 10 to 20 games that I played in the last 10 years on this list. I've been telling y'all we are living in the best era of games. Gaming is not dead. There are so many single player games. I just gave y'all what, 15, 20 games. Some of these games I know y'all didn't play. Go buy them. They're probably on sale because most of these games, like I said, are a year or two old, 10 years old, and they're some of the best gaming experiences you will ever have. So hope you enjoyed the video. Put in a lot of work into this project, and I'm glad I'm finally able to put it out. And you know, y'all can make y'all list too in the comments. You know, go crazy, do what you will. So hope you enjoyed the video. Like, comment, subscribe. Appreciate the love and support y'all been showing me. Join the room, sub to the room if you're not sub yet. Like the video up, and I appreciate y'all. More projects on the way, not just this video. Like I said, I can do a part 2, I can do a part 3, I can do a part 4. I don't know, but I can do a lot of parts to different, you know, types of games in this, you know, era we're living in. We're living in the best era of gaming, in my opinion, and it's gonna keep going up from here. This year alone, 2026, I can do a top 10 for I can do a top 10 for 2026 as well. And you know what I'm saying, if y'all want that video, let me know. See y'all later.